Hi everyone, this is Balazs from RB's Gadget Reviews. You could already see the Falcon 2 22-watt laser engraver and cutter from Creality on the channel. Today, the big brother has arrived. I will show you the Creality Falcon 2 Pro. This is a fully enclosed device with a 40-watt laser head. It's based on the Falcon 2, but has a few more cool tricks to discover. I'm not going to show all the steps with this device, but mainly focus on the differences, so I recommend watching the previous videos with the base model. Let's open this gigantic box. There is a lot of protection, we have tons of things inside and apparently several layers to remove. Here are the most important parts from the box. I had somehow thought that the device would require less assembly. I removed all the elements from the foam, hopefully the instructions are clear enough. There is a printed manual, which is definitely worth reading and following, but we also get a USB drive which is practically a small card reader. We get the product manual in PDF format and there is also a slightly awkward way to access the tutorial video. This Word file has a link that goes to the Creality wiki page and there you can see the video that might help you assemble it. The first step is to assemble the protective cover. We need to remove several layers of film. The process is pretty simple, I haven't filmed this in detail. Then comes the tray. Make sure you find the right slot to slide it in. The laser head goes into this slot here. You need to tighten the screws. The step with the tube and the cable management is not so clear in the manual, it is easier to see in the video. You must remove this tube section first, then connect the head cable here and attach the air assist hose to the head. You can also tie these two parts together. Then you can install the honeycomb panel segments. It's time to mount the protective frame on the device. It fits like this. I recommend removing the fan from the side panel before you peel off the protective film, as part of it is under the fan. After you have attached the side panels, it's time to connect the fan and light cables to the appropriate ports. There are no instructions for managing the fan cable, but they seem to fit into this slot here. Now it was time to take the unit to my workshop and attach the exhaust tube. It is fixed with this clamp. We have a separate hose for the air assist. It now has a port on the side of the unit that can be connected to the pump, and that's the air assist power cable plugged in here. There's the power supply to connect on the other side, and we can switch the device on. A few things to mention first. This is a Class 1 laser device, which means that wearing safety goggles is not mandatory, but still recommended. This is a major difference from the Falcon 2. Even if you use the Falcon 2's cover, you must always wear the safety glasses as the cover has no certification. We have the two previous safety features here. There is a key to lock and unlock the device and an emergency stop button. Focusing is still manual. We use the same focus block as the base model. You cannot operate the device with the lid open. If you open it while cutting or engraving, it will stop immediately. Interestingly, there is a smaller 1.6 watt laser module in the box. I found this very surprising. It allows you to engrave finer details. We can use both Laser GRBL and Lightburn to control the machine. Laser GRBL is free, open source and runs on Windows. The reason why it is not very suitable for this machine is its incompatibility with the camera. For that you need to use Lightburn. To be honest, I find this practice of Creality a bit strange. You buy a very expensive device, but you have to use a paid software to use all the features, and that software is not included in the price of the machine. Lightburn has a 1-month trial period, but after that you have to buy it for $60. It would be better if it was included in the package. The basic configuration is the same as the Falcon 2. You have to import a file and then set the units to millimeters per minute if you have something else. You also need to turn on the Enable Laser Fire button and Laser On when framing in the device settings. Now comes the part with the camera calibration. We have two cables to connect, one for the device and a separate cable for the camera. I rearranged the support to cover the entire area. We have enough slats for every other slot. The manual recommends using a piece of boss boot for the calibration, which was included in the package. This is the calibration card that we will use. You will need to use the focus bar to set the correct height of the laser head. In Lightburn, we need to open the laser tools and select Calibrate Camera Lens. Then select Creality Falcon Camera, Standard Lens, and then Next. Insert the calibration card according to the instructions on the screen. The calibration value must remain below 0.15. If it is higher, you can try to move the card slightly and take the picture again. You can also move the laser module so as not to block the view of the card. The card needs to be captured in a nice square grid. Once this section is completed, we can continue with the camera alignment. You need to place the busboot sample in the center and enter the following parameters that I have taken from the instruction video. Once the settings have been entered, press the home button on the device. Then close the cover and click on frame. If the material is not in the right position, you can open the cover, adjust the position and then close it again. You must click on the start button to begin the engraving process. It will take a few minutes for the pattern to be engraved on the busboot. Once the process is complete, click on Next. Move the laser module to the top left corner and then click on Capture Image. Then we need to double-click exactly on the centers of the corner markers in the numbering order. And that's it, the camera calibration is complete. When we are done, we can do a test engraving to see how the camera works. On the Camera Controls tab, select the Creality Falcon camera and then click Update Overlay to see the camera image on the canvas. If I add the square here, check the parameters, do the framing, then I can start engraving. Oops, I seem to have forgotten to change the mode from fill to line, make sure to check that too. So here is our square. Now I can zoom in and adjust the overlay as needed with these buttons here. Time to make the first cuts. There's a file on the pen drive with the recommended parameters, but it's best to do a grid test on the material. Let's insert our workpiece and make sure we do the focusing. Here is the test grid generator. Let's set the parameters and check the text parameters as well. Now framing, let's get started. So, here's our test grid. We can see which parameters are suitable for cutting and engraving. I will adjust my settings accordingly and then I can load the files that I want to cut. The camera really helps with the arrangement of the shapes on the material. The process from here is very simple, it just takes some time to cut everything I wanted. The tray is very handy for tidying up the scraps that are left over after the process. To compare the performance of the 40W laser head and the 22W laser head of the Falcon 2, this time I cut at 500mm per second at 70% power. With the smaller model I used 300mm per second and also 70% power. The speed difference is slightly less than the nominal power difference, but still quite significant and makes the process much faster with the Falcon 2 Pro. Another interesting feature you can try with the Falcon 2 machines is the ability to do color engraving on stainless steel. I had a piece that wasn't particularly clean or had a smooth surface, but was good for a quick test. As you can see, my first test grid wasn't good because I forgot to change it from line to fill, the second one worked much better. I'm not sure how much you can see of the color differences in these lighting conditions, so let's take it out and look at it again. There are some colors, I'm impressed, not as vibrant as the promotional photos of course. I tried it with the logo of my main YouTube channel, selected the speed and power parameters based on the test grid, and it works surprisingly well, it's a very cool effect. I tried adding the text as well, and that's where it went wrong. Apparently the settings were too strong and the sheet started to bend. This has stopped me from experimenting further with metal as I don't have more pieces. But this is a promising feature and I will definitely do more tests with it, maybe in a separate video. So, let's sum it up. The device works great, I had no major challenges during the assembly process, instructions are a bit vague in places, but if you watch the video too, there shouldn't be any problems. The lack of the Lightburn license in a device of this price is hard to understand, I still think it should be included in the package. The enclosure and tray are a big plus compared to the non-Pro model, which has a much larger footprint with the official protective cover. However, the price difference between the 40W Falcon 2 and the Falcon 2 Pro is considerable. You have to decide whether the Class 1 certification and the other comfort features are worth the price for you. For me personally, the smaller form factor and the proper protection is a big plus. Another machine you could compare is the Xtool M1. That is also a Class 1 enclosed laser cutter and engraver with a camera, which I tested on my main channel. As an extra, this device also has a blade cutting function and is significantly cheaper, but only has a 10W laser, which can affect cutting speed and material thickness, and has a smaller working area. For regular cutting, especially of thicker or harder materials, I would go for the Falcon 2 Pro. If you are only engraving smaller things, the Xtool M1 could be a good choice. So folks, that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. See you next time, bye bye.